Is there a shift happening in the parcel market? Robyn Meyer is Senior Vice President of Parcel Strategy and Solutions with Transportation Insight. Hi, Robyn.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for being with me.
Sure.
So you know the parcel market has been incredibly volatile for years now. Do you think it's now turning to the shipper's benefit?
I think it is. We're seeing a lot of opportunity with the addition of regional carriers and alternative carriers out in the market, that more and more shippers have the advantage over, say, the national carriers that have been so top of mind for years.
You think that's a result of COVID, of the pandemic? I mean, why all of a sudden these other players get into the market to the point where they could start making a difference?
Yeah, COVID made a big impact for sure. And a lot of the alternative carriers that were really scraping by and trying to find some investments within their networks and their infrastructures really had money honestly thrown at them during the pandemic. And so they've become a lot more mature in their solutions, their visibility, their opportunity. And so it's opened up a wide range. Over 83% of the nation's population is now covered by regional carriers.
Wow.
So that's a big influx over the nationals that you've had for just the years to deal with.
Can only be a good thing that they suddenly have these options when
For
they
sure.
felt that they were so constricted in the past. Okay, so shippers are diversifying, a good thing. What would be your top recommendation for them as they do that?
So really understanding what the alternative carriers have to offer. So understanding the tracking data, the visibility that you're going to get, and the opportunities for improvement. I mean, just looking at, for instance, label printing is something that some carriers do really well, while others, it can be quite a cumbersome task. So understanding how you can manage that and really driving opportunity within those alternative carriers. So not necessarily just knowing the ones to look at, but the ones you might possibly want to avoid as well.
It's also, I imagine, a balance between diversification and a certain amount of loyalty to a carrier in order to get the best deals. How are you going to achieve that? Is it always that kind of a thing?
Yeah, it definitely is. And you have to be really smart about it. Carrier diversification isn't just adding more carriers, it's really a mindset. And so understanding what are the opportunities for me to leverage carriers without it negating my discounts, my tiers I have with the nationals, and how do I really partner with both of those or all of those, depending on how many you're looking at. It's really important.
So you've got this much larger group from which to choose, which is a great thing. But again, the question is, how do shippers gain visibility across all those carriers with the help of effective metrics and KPIs, key performance indicators?
Yeah, so understanding how the carriers track on-time performance and what accessorials they have out there and what they're going to actually charge you for delivery of your package, as well as cutoff times and delivery transit times, et cetera, is really important. So talking with the carriers, understanding what data they're going to provide and how they measure that data, right? Understanding that a data point isn't a fact unless it's actually driven by information, right? So how do we look at that and how do we leverage that information to make smarter decisions? So not just, your standard least cost routing, but really how am I going to improve time in transit, consistency, and reliability? Those are the things that most consumers want now as much as they want quick shipping.
Is it the case that a lot of those accessorials, if shippers are not tracking them, you can get some nasty surprises?
Definitely, for sure. Especially as the national carriers focus more on what we deem kind of ugly freight, right?
Yeah.
They're charging you more for the far out deliveries. They're charging you more for the large packages, the things that are cumbersome to deliver. So understanding how that impacts your overall cost to serve, down to even the SKU level, is extremely important.
What about how you get visibility to carrier performance during peaks, seasonal peaks, when it can become incredibly difficult to get the traditional carriers to even take your stuff?
Exactly, 100%. And understanding, just based on all the volatility we've had in the last couple of months with possible work stoppages and strikes and all of these things that have been going on, a lot of shippers really looked at diversification as an alternative to that. And now they really have the time to sit back and say, okay, I looked at this as an opportunity, but can I mitigate costs? Can I improve my time in transit? All of those things are things that more and more carriers and shippers are really working toward.
And then getting visibility into historical carrier performance. I mean, to be able to track how your carriers did so you can use that information going forward in your selection process.
100%. And you have to look futuristically too. So when you hand a package off to a shipper or a carrier, how are they actually performing and what are they going to do from a dependability perspective? So if you say, I'm going to get my box on Thursday, is it really going to arrive Thursday? Is it going to arrive Wednesday? Having that challenge is something that a lot of shippers and carriers have to work together toward.
So what lessons have you learned, and maybe you can save our viewers some pain by sharing your own experiences in the past, you could share with us about with shippers who are actually considering diversification?
Yeah, so have a really good understanding of your network first of all, right? Understand where do your customers sit and what's your strategy for growth, because understanding that's going to point you in the opportunities of what alternative carriers you may leverage.
Hmm.
Because they're regionally based, knowing where your footprint is a huge impact. The other thing that I would say is look at your time in transit and your strategy on dependability from a delivery perspective. If your customer is very into how quick can I get that package, looking at a regional may not necessarily be the play, right? But if you offer a product that a consumer is willing to wait on, or that is really something outside the market of just being able to go and find the quickest, understanding that impact and how that dependability drives that actual consumer decision.
To be able to assess just what is the predictability of the regional carriers, especially in their ability to like keep the customer apprised of the progress of their orders when it's coming. Many say that's even more important than speed.
It is 100%. And a lot of shippers, when regional carriers came about years and years ago, they were really concerned because they wanted that brown uniform delivering their packages. They knew what to expect.
Hmm.
More and more regionals and alternative carriers, postal consolidators, all of that are bringing to market that type of service and that type of detail. And that's something that understanding the offerings out there is tremendously impactful.
And we cannot overemphasize the importance of the role that carriers play in reflecting on the business, on the actual shipper, and how a customer, if they get a bad service from a parcel carrier, they're not going to blame the carrier, they're going to blame the shipper, and you've lost the business.
100%. It's funny, a story. So I'm on a couple of Facebook pages for like the area I live in, right?
Mhm.
There's a county Facebook page. And it's crazy how many people will get on there and they'll say, well, this alternative carrier delivered my package and they do great. Or this carrier, this regional carrier that most people wouldn't even know about are delivering my packages and they're stinking, right? And
Mhm.
so understanding that, and it's funny because in transportation, I sit there and I read these messages and I'm like, long ago, people would just be like, yeah, UPS, FedEx. And now they're literally calling out these
Mhm.
alternative carriers that are delivering in the certain areas of place where I live.
Are they actually posting about good experiences? Because our idea of the internet is that they only post when something's gone wrong.
They're posting based on the e-commerce provider that's doing it. So saying, hey, I have this meal delivery, right?
Oh.
And they do a great
They
job.
don't say the
And
parcel
here's-
carrier
No,
was
they
great.
do.
Oh, they do?
They do. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy, but they'll say, yeah, this order was delivered by this carrier, and somebody in transportation. I'm like, okay, that's a big change
Mhm.
in the way we've looked at the market in the past. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Robyn,
Sure.
for these insights. Great advice for shippers and their policies about how to go about finding the right parcel carriers. But I do want to ask you for a moment to tell me a little bit about Transportation Insight. Tell me about your company and how you fit into the picture.
Sure. So Transportation Insight is a multimodal logistics provider. So we look at many buckets, but we're really focused on data-driven consulting, opportunities, consolidations, those types of things. And so we help shippers, no matter the mode, look at the opportunity to mitigate cost, improve dependability, and really drive strategy within their supply chain. So we're just an extension of their team, providing really visibility into thousands of different scenarios.
Robyn, thanks again for sharing your insights into the dynamics of the parcel market, plus telling us a little bit about Transportation Insight itself. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me.
Been speaking with Robyn Meyer of Transportation Insight. Thank you very much for watching.